7,200. The exact number of animal species on the planet. 7,200. The exact number of plants in the Amazon rainforest. And 7,200. The exact number of minutes of Rose City FM listeners were exposed to pure radio genius.
On the 14th of March 2020, Warwick was first introduced to the voices of Ned Parks and Pierce Johnson. And today, Saturday, September the 11th, marks their last show here on Warwick's very own local radio station. So join Ned and Pierce as they ride the airwaves one last time for their final Rose City FM adventure. Men Pierce.
Good afternoon, Ned and Pierce with you for one last afternoon.
That is right. It is our final ride or die, Pierce, today here on Rose City FM. And must I say, it has been a great experience.
Oh, it's been wonderful.
I know. There's so many incredible people at this station. I didn't think so many wonderful just personalities could exist under the same roof. I've had such a great time.
Yeah, and the people that we've been in direct contact with, I suppose, like, you know, John Mulder, Paul Brayley, Peter Hardwick, who comes on after us, and also Rod Britton, who was before us a while back. But yeah,
we've just met so many great people, and I think that this having this show here really has helped us develop our own radio skills. Just as we've,
I mean, we're so in sync now that we can finish each other's
sentences. We can finish each other's sentences.
Could have been better there.
But it really has been a great experience.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that's enough of our yapping, Pierce. There's plenty of time for a heartfelt conversation later on the show.
Reminiscing later on.
Yeah. We've got all of our great segments coming up for their last final time as well.
Mm-hmm. Ned and Pierce's Odd Occurrences.
There's Ned and Pierce's Odd News, and of course, what did Pierce steal from Ned's room?
Yeah, sorry, the Odd Occurrence one isn't mine, is it?
It's okay, Pierce. But everyone's favourite radio game show.
Yeah, everyone's favourite radio game show. What did Pierce steal from Ned's room?
Yes.
Anyway, this is AC/DC. Are you ready? Here on Rose City FM 89.3. More music variety on the Southern Downs. Adele, Rolling in the Deep here at Rose City FM 89.3. 22 minutes past 12. Now it's our last story time.
It is our last story time. You know, we like to come to each other with stories from our week, and this will be the last one.
Yeah, so as you know, I've been trying to kind of... I went to the office the other day. I was like, hey, what's it going to take for me to be able to ring the bell system?
Yes, because we know there is a bell button in existence at our school, because sometimes they have to ring the bells manually with a button somewhere that rings every bell in the school, and I feel like it would just be so much power.
Yeah, it just feel incredible to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I talked to our deputy, and she was like, give me 10 good deeds, and you're going to be able to ring the bell system. So I was like, all right, no big deal. It actually took a while.
Yeah, it has taken a while. I've seen you the last week or so going around the school doing good deeds for people.
Took me about 2 weeks to actually get all these good deeds done. Yeah. And I think, you know, it was just like simple things like taking some books somewhere, or doing a simple chore like taking a chair somewhere for some teachers that might want a chair in a different spot.
Yeah. And
sometimes with subliminal messaging, where I'd open the door for someone and then wink at them and say, tell Miss Pole. but my last deed, my number 10, this is probably one of the worst and hardest deeds that I had to do. I asked one of our teachers, and they were like, well, you can take my year 7 maths class. I was like, this can't be too hard. I mean, it's just a couple of year 7s. That can't be too hard.
Yeah.
I rocked up on Wednesday afternoon. I was like, g'day everybody, my name's Mr. Johnson, but you can call me Mr. Johnson. And this is hard. Year 7s are terrible.
Yeah, they are. They're subhuman almost, you know. They just bounce around off the walls. They don't shut up, and they just have massive egos, and I don't get...
Massive egos, that's the worst bit.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this on our show before, actually. We've complained about junior students at high schools being, like, really egotistical.
They're terrible, because they come out of the primary school being the top.
Yeah.
and so they have that same amount of ego.
I think it kind of diminishes a bit in grade 8 when they realise that, hey, we're actually not the top of the school anymore.
Actually, we're bottom.
Right at the very bottom.
Yeah. So, but I went in there and they started teasing me. They called me Ranger Ben 10.
Where the hell does Ranger Ben 10 come from?
Well, I'm a ginger.
Yeah, well, we know where that big comes from, but they got Ben 10 out of where?
I don't know. I don't even wear a watch like that.
Wear a watch.
Yeah. So I don't know where they got that from. But yeah, these kids are awful. Yeah. So, and I came in there, I was thinking that, this won't be hard, but it was. Anyway, there was this one kid who was so bad that he needed to go to a buddy class. And
they always do.
Yeah, the teacher got me to take him to the buddy class. I thought, well, I got a one-on-one with this kid. Maybe I can, talk some sense into him. Maybe can impart some wisdom onto him. So I was like, hey, mate, my name's Pierce, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you know what? When you're in year 12, when you get to my age, you're going to regret a lot of the things that you were doing in year 7. And he actually shut up for a bit. Yeah. So I thought, maybe I've made a difference on this kid. Walked down a little bit further. He looks up at me and says, your name sounds like penis.
Radio like you've never heard it before. In fact, this is worse than you've ever heard it before. This is Ned and Pierce.
Welcome back to the final episode of Ned and Pierce's Odd News from around the globe, your one-stop shop for the wacky things occurring around the globe on the daily. Tonight, the longtime McDonald's mascot Grimace, the large purple blob that left fans scratching their heads as to just what it is, has finally been revealed to be a giant taste bud, or the embodiment of a milkshake. It's up to you to choose. This answer is sure to leave a sour taste in fans' mouths.
I don't know what you mean, a giant taste bud.
A giant taste bud. So you know Grimace, the big purple McDonald's blob?
No.
Well, he's a mascot, and he's a big purple blob.
Oh,
and
okay.
It was kind of confusing as to what he was, but he is, in fact, a taste bud.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So this is what I mean, but my first story was more of a statement. So, when we look for our stories, we keyword search things like funny, odd, strange news stories.
Weird is my one.
Yeah. And so you could imagine my surprise when I stumble across the not so funny, not so weird, not so strange story of West Virginia man allegedly chased family with axe, quoting, "I had to kill them to get the demons out." So, not exactly the bright and happy story that you're looking for.
No, but it is it would definitely fit under odd.
Yeah.
Definitely
I suppose it does.
Weird religious zealot chases men around with an axe.
Yeah.
The Ig Nobel Prizes given out to the weirdest scientific discoveries of the year, were awarded over the week to several slightly disheartened scientists. The studies that took home the trophy found out just how disgusting gum stuck to the bottom of a shoe was, and whether it was better to transport an airborne rhinoceros upside down. The results of which were inconclusive. So we still don't know whether it's better to transport a rhino upside down or not.
This is one you might be interested in because over the years you've had Elvis Presley styled hair.
Yeah.
A jar of Elvis Presley's hair has been auctioned off for $72,500. It was a baseball-sized clump of hair collected over the course of multiple haircuts. Homer Gilliland, Presley's personal barber, had done for more than 2 decades. So the hair was kept in a plastic bag by Gilliland, who gifted it to Thomas Morgan, a close friend of both the barber and the singer. And if you ask me, it's a very unusual gift to give to someone.
Yes. And in other news, I've recently made a $72,500 purchase. A jar of Elvis Presley's hair. No, I'm joking. James Corden has been panned widely online for dressing up as a pelvic thrusting mouse while blocking traffic in Los Angeles as part of a larger stunt to promote the upcoming live-action Cinderella movie. The stunt involved other celebrities such as Camila Cabello, Idina Menzel, and Billy Porter dressed in character singing Jennifer Lopez's Let's Get Loud. Twitter users did in fact get loud, yelling at James Corden how much of a loser he was.
Yeah, but James Corden's reputation
has plummeted.
Yeah, it really has.
Say.
Ever since that Cats movie where he was dressing up as a furry, like furry cats.
And it's a mouse this time as well.
I don't know why he took this role.
The video is actually hilarious. I was watching it before the show.
Yeah.
He walks up to like a car while singing, starts this pelvic thrusting just in the middle of the street, like into someone's window.
It does make you wonder why he's taken on another role where he's dressing up as an animal. And the last one didn't go too well. Another thing that's up for auction is, and this time it's actually Michael Jordan's used underwear. So with the underwear described as bearing signs of definite use. So who knows what that means. The starting bid was $500. And don't worry, there's still a chance for you to get in there, Ned, because bidding closes on September the 25th.
I'd definitely love a pair of Michael Jordan's skid-marked undies, because that's all I can imagine.
To go with a baseball-sized clump of Elvis Presley's hair.
Yeah, definite use also definitely means this weird stains in those underwear. But unfortunately, that brings us to the end of our final Ned and Pierce's Odd News from around the globe. I hope you enjoyed this segment. I know I certainly have. And I guess stay classy, Warwick.
This is Ned and Pierce.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the hottest radio game show. I'm your host, Piers. Now, my co-host, Ned, has a very messy room, so I want to know, does he actually have any idea of what's in there? Probably not. The rules are simple. I take one item from Ned's room, and with only 3 hints from me, Ned must figure out what that item is. And if he doesn't, well, it's mine. So without further ado, it's time for... What did Pierce steal from Ned's room?
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is the best game show.
Everyone's favourite game show.
Kind of choked up there. I usually have a thing to say there, but I kind of didn't think of anything.
Yeah.
Hey, ukuleles have 4 strings.
Yeah, it turns out ukuleles do in fact have 4 strings, that we were not correct in comparing them to guitars.
Yes, so thanks for that, Ashley. Today's What Did Pierce Steal? It's kind of our last thing. I wanted to steal something big from you.
Steal something big.
I wanted to know where you kept your cash, but apparently you don't keep cash because you're some cashless person nowadays.
Yeah. And this show's been a bit of a point of like contention between us. You know, we are a little bit competitive when it comes to what did Pierce steal from Ned's room. So I decided it's all or nothing. This show.
Okay, because I saw you coyly smiling at me while you grabbed something from your bag.
I put forward a wager. Winner gets rock with gold in it. It's one of my valuable items that I have in my room that you haven't found. Rock with gold.
This is
in it.
How much gold is this? Like, I
don't know, Pierce, but the value is both sentimental and kind of
Well, I can't take something from you that's got sentimental value to you because it doesn't have sentimental value.
It's kind of like what's the word? Symbolic. You know, it is gold. Gold is the position. Is like it's like, it means first, right? Gold means first place in almost everything. Gold medals.
Okay, so this is
rock with gold in it,
like a gold medal.
Yeah,
except it's not.
The winner of today gets to keep the rock with gold in it.
All right. Well, maybe I should just make the questions really, or like the hints really easy, because I don't want that.
You don't want the rock with gold in it, Pierce.
No. Okay. All right. It's symbolic.
It's a symbolic victory, Pierce.
Right.
It's not super valuable, the rock with gold in it, but it is symbolic.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's time for your first hint. Thing that I stole from your room. It's almost like a riddle now. So pink, blue, blue.
Pink, blue, blue. This is very riddler of you, Pierce. I don't own a lot of pink items that I can think of straight away on my shelf. So I think I'm going to have to take another hint.
All right. Your next hint is that it centers one person.
It centers one person.
Yep.
All right. Pink. So wait, what was it? Pink, blue, blue that you said? The first hint?
Blue, pink, blue.
Blue, pink, blue. And it centers one person.
Yep.
So instantly I'm thinking of awards for things I've won, because that centers around me winning something.
Yep.
And I think I've got one more hint left in the bank, Pierce. Can I have that?
All right. Yeah. So cubism, realism, and pop art.
Cubism, realism, and pop art.
Yeah.
All forms of art.
Yep.
And so it centers one person. Okay, I'm thinking... okay, I think I have a pretty good guess, Pierce. But first it'll require a little bit of a story time.
Okay.
So, going back to grade... I don't remember what grade it was.
Grade 10.
Grade 10. We had an art class, and we had to paint someone... important in our lives, and we both had a teacher that we very much liked at that point, and we painted him in 3 different ways on a large board of wood. And I'm thinking, is it my 3-painting Mr. G?
It is your 3-painting Mr. G.
Yes.
One in the form of cubism, one in the form of realism, and one in the form of pop art.
Wow. Oh. Wow. I know that the rules of the show is you get to keep what I don't guess, and I would have been distraught if you got to keep
lost
this
the
Mr.
G painting.
This has way more value to me than the stupid gold rock. Screw this thing. I'm throwing it in the corner. Goddamn. This was the real prize, and
it is beautiful. It's really magnificent.
It's quite a good painting, actually, if I do say myself.
Maybe we should give it to that teacher.
Maybe that could be our
one of our leaving
gift
things
to him, because if there's anything that's more valuable than...
Because it's kind of creepy to keep that in your room.
Yeah, but if there's anything that's more valuable to me, it's seeing the smile on Mr. G's face. And I think that giving him this painting would bring that smile.
Good old Mr. G.
But that's the end of...
What did Pierce steal from Ned's room? Hey, look, all or nothing, you've won, so that means you win the entire show.
I win the entire show, and it was quite a short-lived show, but I thoroughly enjoyed all of the episodes of this we've played.
So did I. Ned's Odd Occurrence coming up in the next half hour. We'll see you then.
This is Ned and Pierce.
That was scary.
Ned's Odd Occurrences from around the world.
I smell a mystery.
It's a mystery. For the final episode of Ned's Odd Occurrence from around the globe, we cover the case that started it all. This was the first ever case to carry the moniker of Ned's Odd Occurrence just over a year ago.
It's very poetic. I don't think we had an opener for this by that stage.
No, we didn't even have an opener. We just opened with... This is Ned's Odd Occurrence from around the globe.
I think I remember how you did it. You'd be like, all right, so I'm pitching a new segment, and it's going to start like... it's like you do this whole intro, and then you just paused for like 3 seconds, and then you're like... That's where the intro is going to be.
Oh, was that the first one?
Yeah, that's how you did it.
Well, this is the case of Charles C. Morgan. On March 22nd, 1977, Morgan went missing in Tucson, Arizona, on his way to his escrow company. 3 days later, he returned home with a plastic handcuff around his ankle and real handcuffs around his wrists. He told his wife that there was a hallucinogenic drug in his throat that would destroy his nervous system. His wife would nurse him back to health over the next 2 months, during which he told his wife that he had been working as a secret agency as an agent for the Treasury Department. He then goes missing again. 9 days after Morgan's disappearance, his wife received a phone call in which a woman's voice told her, "Chuck is all right, Ecclesiastes 12, 1-8, and hangs up. 2 days later, on June 18th, Morgan is found dead near his car 40 miles west of Tucson. He was wearing a bulletproof vest, a belt concealing a knife, and a holster for his gun, which had been used to shoot him in the back of the head. Someone else's sunglasses were found nearby. When police searched his car, they found a stash of weapons and ammunition, a system to allow the car to be unlocked from underneath the front bumper, and Morgan's tooth wrapped in white cloth. Pinned to Morgan's underwear was a $2 note with 7 Spanish surnames, a map of the surrounding area, directions to where Morgan was found, written in his own handwriting, and the phrase Ecclesiastes 12, 1-8. No fingerprints were found, and Morgan's case was ruled a suicide. Now, it's still as interesting reading over it again today, because so many weird things were found at the scene. Like, this is probably one of the weirdest ones I've ever read or seen.
Yeah.
You know, you've got any thoughts you want to add in?
I think my comment it remains the same. So being an agent for the Treasury Department still isn't that cool.
Well, they
I was like,
that is correct.
pretty boring.
Basically,
Doesn't really sound like James Bond does it. License to kill. His is more like a license to issue fines or whatever.
That's a good way to put it, Pierce. His job was basically to investigate people instigating frauds against the government. So he was kind of the more boring little brother of the cool Secret Service that we see in all the Bond movies.
Yeah.
But it is entirely true that he may have been...
Imagine being a secret agent for money stuff.
It may also be true that he was a little bit more than just an agent for the Treasury Department. He could have worked for the mob, actually, the mafia.
Oh, yeah.
Was wrapped up with some, I think, ex-Vietnamese government officials. He was wrapped up in all this other stuff, and I'm thinking possibly because he thought, well, my job is really boring. I don't have anything cool to tell at parties when oh, what do you do? I'm a brain surgeon. Oh, well, what do you do? Oh, I go and I issue fines to people who've committed tax fraud. So, I'm actually in collusion with the mob, but don't tell anyone.
Another thing that I found really unusual about this story is that they don't seem to elaborate on the Bible verse, which I thought would be a pretty big clue.
It is a big clue. It was a thing, because the person, that's all they said on the phone was Ecclesiastes 12, 1 through 8.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure what you said when you were researching this is that they don't actually go into what that Bible verse says.
Yeah, they don't. And the Bible verse never led to anything, actually. Nothing ever came up from that.
You'd feel like there'd be a clue in there, though.
Yes, but we're not finished. 2 weeks after Morgan's death, 2 men masquerading as police officers tore apart Morgan's home looking for something, but left quickly, taking nothing. 13 years after Morgan's death, journalist Don Devereaux would look into Morgan's case on an episode of NBC's Unsolved Mysteries and discover that Morgan was involved in money laundering and gold transactions upwards of $1 billion for the mafia. After this episode aired, Doug Johnston was shot in the parking lot outside a computer graphics company right across the road from Don Devereaux's house. Doug also drove a very similar car as Don. The CIA discovered that this was in fact a botched killing meant for Devereaux. So the mob really didn't get their money's worth on that one. But I shot the wrong man.
I remember us making a joke at the time that, maybe we're painting ourselves, putting a target on our backs. And now we're doing it again.
Yeah, it's the second time. Basically just in telling the mafia at this point to come and kill us. But in the end, it is clear that Morgan was silenced for knowing too much of someone else's dirty business in a case so secretive that it nearly killed a journalist 13 years later. We don't know what happened to Charles C. Morgan, and unless some new piece of evidence is brought forward, we never will.
This is Ned and Pierce.
Dirty Paws of Monsters and Men. 11 minutes past 2 here at Rose City FM 89.3.
Now, it's the beginning of reminiscing hour, isn't it, Pierce? It's our final show. We need to look back at some of the things we've done, some of the things we've made.
Yeah, so we've got some unalcoholic champagne.
We do, which I'm opening right now. And while we drink this non-alcoholic champagne, we will talk about some of the projects that we made to play on the show that we were quite proud of.
Yes.
And we're going in chronological order as well, which we'll begin with...
the Sit or Stand Fiasco. Now, I've got some... pulled some reminiscent music off YouTube, which we thought would be ambient, but I'm not sure if it really has the right type of ambience that we want.
I think it's quite atmospheric, really. Just
swaying along to it. Yeah. So this first one that we did, it wasn't actually well received by some conservative listeners that were listening to Rose City FM.
Yeah, the Sit or Stand Fiasco, back when it was very close to when we actually began doing radio here. We went out and we interviewed people at our school as to whether they wipe their butts after getting off the toilet sitting or standing, because there was
a debate that we realised was actually going on whether people on the different ways that people did that. So now, they just didn't like hearing that.
I think it's time to pop the champagne, Pierce. Now I've got the bin here with the bottle aiming into it, because you know how wildly inaccurate these can be. So I think it's time for the ceremonial opening of the bottle.
Okay.
All right, the cork is not coming out. Oh,
Yeah. Okay, I can't really see what's going on. Oh my gosh. That was kind of loud.
There we go. And, of course, as champagne bottles do, it has spilled out all over the top. But I think
it's in the bin.
Yes, it is. And the bottle is intact.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay.
Right.
Now, we don't have our champagne glasses, so we found ourselves these little China teacups to drink out of. We found.
We're not sure how clean these cups are, so we decided to stick some straws in them as
we've
well.
got some straws as well. And I'm not going to pour it over the equipment piece. I'll come around and I'll pour you a glass over there.
Thank
How
you.
about that?
Yeah, it's all right.
This is a little bit of behind the scenes for the listener. As I get up from my chair to pour Pierce's non-alcoholic champagne.
That's very nice.
There we go.
Perfect. All right. So, as we've got our non-alcoholic champagne here, should we have a listen?
I guess, we'll let the audio grab speak for itself.
I was on YouTube the other day and I was watching a BuzzFeed video and I discovered that there's a debate that I definitely never knew existed. I'm not sure about you. There's a debate that is sort of arguing over when you go to the toilet, whether you should stand up when you're wiping or whether you should sit down.
This is an interesting one, Pierce. Maybe we should, maybe we'll have to go on a survey, go around and we should put this argument to rest. Do you like to wipe standing up or sitting down?
Sitting down.
Sitting down.
Sitting down.
Sitting from the front.
Standing up. I'd backflip.
I'd like to do it standing on my hands.
Handstand! Do you wipe standing up or sitting down?
Sitting down.
Like to do it when I'm sitting down.
You like to do sitting down? What about you, Seth?
I like doing it when I'm standing up. I prefer to kind of, like, you know, what I do when I finish, right?
Yeah.
I'll go on my phone, see who's talking, chat and whatnot.
Oh, yeah?
I'll swipe for a bit. Oh, yeah, this wants to talk to me. So I talk to them for a bit. And I sit on the toilet for about up to 2 hours sometimes.
Oh, yeah?
And then
Sitting down.
That's a good question. I sit down.
Mr. Smith, when you go to the toilet, when you wipe, do you sit or stand?
Neither.
Neither. Ah.
These are the important questions, aren't they?
When you have to go to wipe, do you like to stand up or sit down?
Definitely like to stay sitting down.
Stand up, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's so weird. Do you wipe sitting down or standing up?
Next question, please.
Can you please go away? It depends. At school, you don't touch the toilets, ever.
Yeah.
But at home, you gotta sit down and have a crap. You gotta feel comfortable in your own home. That's not the question.
You've answered something completely different, Declan.
Sitting down.
What am I talking about?
Well, Mr. Smith, you've come and answered a very important question.
Yes.
So when you go to the toilet and you finished at the end, do you wipe sitting down or standing up?
I used to stand up, now I sit down.
Oh.
It's an evolution.
So it's changed over the years. That's very interesting.
Change is good.
I'm a girl. I sit down. I think that's obvious. It's biological.
Jenna, what is it about standing that makes you prefer it over sitting?
I don't know. I've just done it my whole life.
This is very interesting. You're one of the few people in this school who stands.
This proves that standers exist.
Yeah, people who stand do exist.
So it was in fact true that standers did exist.
Yes, and in case you didn't notice out there from the poor audio quality, we carried around the toaster from home to record it on, just held it above people. It was very, very poor audio. Our equipment was very low quality back then, really.
It wasn't nice.
But that was really the first major thing that we made for this radio show, I guess.
Yeah,
you know?
and we were pretty proud of it.
Yeah, we were very proud of it, and we showed it to a lot of people, and they thought it was pretty good too.
Yeah.
And back then, I think that, we did a good job on it.
Yeah, our project slowly got better.
Yeah, but as we did mention, we did get in a little bit of strife for that one. A couple of Rose City FM's listeners apparently called in with complaints about speak of bodily functions on the radio.
So we were banned.
Yeah, we were banned from talking about bodily functions. But seeing as this is our last show, I think we can go
we
put all our chips in,
and just do it just one last time.
Yeah, just one final hurrah.
More reminiscing after On My Way by the Cat Empire. One Direction. What Makes You Beautiful, Harry, Niall, Lucas, Zane, and Liam.
Yep, and they're all broken up. no longer a band. No more One Direction music
What
ever.
a shame. I did
I know.
enjoy that music.
But it's time to continue our reminiscing, Piers. Do you have the reminiscing music?
There we go.
There we go. Reminiscing music is back. Now, up next, we've got our prophecy. This is a one that I often forget, actually, but I think it's more of a turning point.
Yeah.
You know, before this, we had made some projects for our show, but the prophecy was like the first one where we really realised the power of audio.
Yeah, because it's the first thing we sort of had and it wasn't the first thing that we sort of had, but it had an element of continuity. It was your odd occurrence that it was supposed there was something happening later in that year.
It was a doomsayer. So an online doomsayer was going around talking about the end of the world and all these visions he'd had, picturing the end of the world on this date. And so we decided it would be great if for the next show, which was after this date where the world was supposed to end, we brought up the prophecy. And the prophecy was a short little sketch kind of thing we made where it was just us listing off. Not lifting off. we were actually quite grounded for the whole thing, but we were listing off a bunch of very insignificant, minor grievances that had happened to us on this day. Like we stubbed our toe. You know, I was 15 minutes late for work.
To school. Work.
Yeah, and just a bunch of small things. And
that sort of thing.
It was the first time I think we really put a ton of effort into this thing, because the sitting or standing thing obviously was a lot of effort went into that.
Yeah.
But this one I think was the first time we really upped our production value.
Yeah.
To include, you know, we had better microphones, better equipment.
Well, I think we'd snuck into a room at our school that had microphones.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if the audio quality was that great.
It was.
It was better than what we had for the sit or stand.
I guess again we'll have to let the grab speak for itself. Let's take a listen. And now, Pierce, we've got our continuity story of September the 5th. This was a topic that we covered a few shows back about a internet prophet who believed that something really terrible was going to happen on September the 5th. Was the prophecy true? I guess we'll find out. We'll have to find out. On the 29th of April 2020, a person on Reddit, a social media app, found posters in Happy Valley, Utah.
Okay.
They were advertising a dream survey. Supposedly the number on the posters was linked to a payphone company called Fattel. And they had a bunch of keys that would go to different places, like pre-mapped keys. You click on them, it calls a certain number. Some of these were very weird. You could call the mayor, the Druid of Sisyphus Gardens, the Apology Lines, and the Willamette Valley Dream Survey.
Oh.
So I watched a YouTuber.
Yeah.
He called the number for the Willamette Valley Dream Survey. It was kind of like a pre-recorded message saying to detail his dream.
Yeah.
And he got messaged back a code, almost. The code translated to September 5 in a different language. This led to another Reddit page, went back to Reddit, about a person who believes they have prophetic dreams. The prophetic dreams are that something really bad will happen on the 5th of September 2020.
Yeah.
That's next month.
Oh,
these prophetic dreams are supposed to happen. He believes a large series of bad events go down 5th of September 2020. Which means we have a continuity story on our hands, Piers. Now, to list off the events of September the 5th, 2020.
Yes, I woke up on the morning of Saturday, the 5th of September, and stubbed my toe. I got up to get dressed and I put my shirt on inside out.
I walked outside to find that I left the car keys inside.
I went onto the highway only to be stopped in traffic very briefly.
I got to work 2 minutes late.
My shift ended 15 minutes late.
When I got home, a bug flew into my face. It startled me.
I went to brush my teeth and was out of toothpaste.
When I went to get a glass of milk before bed, I realised I'd actually forgotten to get the milk.
I finally got to bed at the end of a long day full of minor, trivial annoyances, and just as I thought it couldn't get any worse, my pillow smelled funny.
And so, September the 5th, claimed the boys as victims, bringing them to the horror that had been promised. All the petty grievances, the small irritations had been part of the prophecy. The prophecy of September the 5th. Every minor inconvenience pointed to only one logical explanation. The only thing that made sense, the prophecy was true.
So, wasn't as good as we remember it being.
Well, I'd still put this down as a turning point in our content, though, because I remember we were very proud of this one at the time, and I think this was a point where we really started to put more effort into these little audio grabs that we would bring. And I think we've made actually quite a few that we aren't going to bring up on the show today, because we've got like the Humbling, that was probably the most recent one.
Yeah.
We've got all those other kinds of things where we would do sound related little sketches for them.
Yeah.
And I think this was still quite early on in our radio journey.
Yeah.
And I think it was a bit of a turning point, as I've said multiple times. But that was it.
We'll play next the conclusion to our reminiscing. This is probably our favourite.
Yeah, this is one that we are still, to this day, very proud of.
So stay tuned for that. It's after Public Make You Mine here on Rose City FM 89.3.
Pick Your Poison from Black Pistol Fire. Now, up now in our continued reminiscing hour, and I'll get the reminiscing music playing.
Of course.
There we go. Nice and atmospheric now.
Now, we just rudely shut the door on John Mulder, who is...
Yeah, the station president. We've had to shut him out so that we can bring back one of our... frankly, our favourite projects of our time here at Rose City FM. Now, we wrote a letter to the Queen at some point, on air as well.
Which I don't think you ever actually mailed to her.
No, the letter was mailed to her, Pierce, but it was in the height of the COVID scare, so it was a very... probably a really bad time.
The poor Queen, she was hiding under her bed as she had letters upon letters coming for her.
Yeah, it probably wasn't a great time.
Traces of COVID.
Probably was not a great time to send a letter to the Queen, but we did anyway, and we developed it on air. I remember we wrote it, and we had a listener call in as well at some point saying that the Queen's a big fan of horses and corgis, and that we need to mention that in the letter if we hope to be knighted, because that was the grand plan. Be knighted by the Queen.
Yeah, well, that's what the letter was all about. Just asking to be knighted.
So we've got a little grab here, and
I think it basically recaps everything.
Yeah, it just recaps everything, and it plays our fun little Queen sketch that we made to end it off. So we'll play that now.
Do you remember the letter that we sent to the Queen?
The letter we sent to the Queen, yes.
Yeah, we basically sent a letter to the Queen asking to be knights, and this is a bit of a recap of that.
To Her Highness, the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, we, Ned Parks and Pierce Johnson, come to you as two humble radio hosts on a rural station in southeast Queensland. We are currently in Year 11 at high school, and our studies are going strong. We would really like to know a few things about the queenly lifestyle. Is there special queen food that only you can eat? How many horses do you own? We know you like chocolate. We are big chocolate fans as well. What kind of chocolate is your favourite? We love those big feathery hats that you wear, and are thinking of starting a collection ourselves. And now we would really like to take a shot in the dark and pop the big question. We think it would be cool as well as really funny if you were to knight us. This would give us an edge on pretty much anything in life and would make a great conversation piece. So pretty please, with sugar and a cherry on top, can you make us knights? One of our listeners, Chris, is a big fan of horses and corgis, just like you. We ask that alongside us, he would be knighted as well. Yours truly and sincerely, in the highest form of honour, Ned Parks and Pierce Johnson. Soon to be Sir Ned Parks and Sir Pierce Johnson.
And so I'm sure you're wondering by now, what's going on?
What's going on with the Queen letter?
Why is Pierce playing this? Would you believe me if I told you the Queen has responded?
Well, I haven't seen this response, Pierce.
She's responded and she's sent us an audio file.
Oh, wow, really? I can't wait to hear it.
I haven't listened to it yet, but here we go.
Is it just music, Piers?
No.
Hello, Ned Parks and Piers Johnson, two humble radio hosts on a rural station in southeast Queensland. Thank you for your letter. As you know, my name is the Queen. I will now answer your questions in order of appearance. In regard to my queenly lifestyle, yes, there is food that only I can eat. It is called ravioli. I happen to own 2.5 horses at present and wish to add more to my collection. I hate chocolate. And now for the big question. Can I knight you? I'm afraid I've accidentally wasted all of my knightly sword taps on Sir Ian McKellen and the old bald guy from the X-Men movies. I simply don't have enough knight taps to give out. Good day to you both.
Well, shucks. Well, I guess we're not
God
knights.
damn it. I can't be knighted. A very interesting response from the Queen. I was so sure she was a I was so sure she was a fan of chocolate. I was so sure she liked chocolate.
Well, apparently the Queen detests chocolate.
But she does love ravioli.
She's got 2.5 horses.
She does love ravioli, though. So we can at least relate to her on that level.
I'm surprised she didn't say more. It's almost like it would have been more than $100 if she'd said more.
And that was it. That was the peak of Ned and Piers, I guess. No, that was I was listening to that the first time. I remember laughing my head off because that was hilarious.
It was a surprise for you.
Yeah, I had never heard that one before, and this was
I think we can give in on the illusion. That wasn't the Queen.
It may not have been the Queen in the end.
Paid someone on the internet to do that.
This was when we realised that actually the website Fiverr, not sponsored in any way, the website Fiverr was really good for our show and would play a part in some of the things we made in the future. Like when we made our Nat trailer, which most listeners probably wouldn't know about.
No, we haven't done anything.
Did anything regarding that. But we made a little short film at school, and then we went onto Fiverr and got some nice movie posters printed out. And, because there's people all over the internet that are useful for these things.
It's a freelance. It's just a website with freelance people on it that are freelancers. They do creative things for money.
Yeah, and we actually got our little radio like you've never heard it before done on Fiverr as well.
Yeah, and that was
and
also
really useful.
Super expensive.
But the Queen letter was something that it was when we really started to lean into the continuity bit of the show, because continuity is really, really useful for things like radio and entertaining things where you can bring a joke from one show to the next and just keep building on it and making it better, making it bigger, and making the payoff bigger in the end. And I think the payoff for this one in the end was perfect, because we had the show before, we'd been writing this Queen letter on air, and over several breaks we'd been tapping away at it and editing it and reading out new additions that we'd made to it. And then we finally, at the end, said we will mail it off. And I did mail it off, actually.
I don't think you did.
No, I did, in fact, mail it off. Still attributing our lack of a real queenly response to COVID. If COVID wasn't going strong last year, we definitely would be knights by now.
Oh, probably.
But, yeah,
I wonder if people can get knighted over Zoom.
Yeah, maybe. But I didn't expect a response, and I honestly didn't expect continuity out of this little bit.
Yeah.
But what we turned it into is something that I think we can both be really proud of, and it turned out really well. Yeah, and I guess that's it on the Queen letter. That's also nearly it for our reminiscing hour and our final show. Only 11 minutes to go, so I guess we've just got a couple more songs and then our final goodbyes, starting with Aerosmith with Ragdoll. Saint Motel with For Elise, a great song, and just like that song, all great things must come to an end, Piers.
Just like this show.
Yes, it has come to the end of our show. This is it, the final hurrah of Ned Piers. And I think it's been a great journey here on Rose City FM. We definitely learnt a lot.
Of course.
Met a lot of great people, including, of course, Peter, who'll be taking you through to 6 for his Saturday drive time show, as always.
And of course, John Mulder, is he in that studio? I can't see.
He's floating around somewhere outside. Yeah, the president of the station, John Mulder, always been so supportive, as well as all of our other peers here at Rose City FM.
Putting in an incredible amount of trust into two teenagers
to come on air and say whatever we want, unmoderated, just for all of Warwick to hear. And yeah, it's been great. You know, we had Paul and Rod Britton, who did the shows before us. They were always very nice as well.
Yeah.
And just all our time spent here at Rose City FM has just been so great.
A lot of fun.
I know. And I guess that's it. For definitely not the first time and hopefully not the last, I'm lost for words on air. So
you can always, if you want to hear more of us, which we'd be delighted if you do, you can check us out on our podcast, The Department of Shenanigans and Tomfoolery. We haven't, pushed out an episode.
Yeah, we haven't. We also haven't forgotten. We're going to start making more episodes if that once we
we've
leave
only
school,
we've got 2 episodes of the Department of Shenanigans and Tomfoolery, but you can find it on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts,
anywhere you can listen to podcasts. But I guess that's it. That's the end. So Warwick, we'll see you when we see you. And to end it off, as always, Rock Lobster.
It's a massive shift from
Rock Lobster. Radio like you've never heard it before. In fact, this is worse than you've ever heard it before. This is Ned and Pierce.